What is the China consumer showing you when it comes to a desire to get into gaming? They don't seem to be reticent there.
Hi, yeah, the Chinese consumer has always been avid for gaming. They find that gaming is an inexpensive form of digital entertainment. It's very social, and the higher the quality of the games, the more these high demanding gamers will throw themselves into them and spend a lot of money. And Black Myth Wukong is just a perfect example of that. It's a perfect example of a lot of things, like Chinese game development prowess, how Chinese game developers are really world class, and how a relatively unknown company like Game Science, which is the developer of Black Myth Wukong, backed by Tencent, backed by Hero Entertainment, how it could just have developed this game for years on end and then have it come out at the top of every chart.
Okay. Well, every chart, the other data set I was tracking was Sony PlayStation 5 sales on Alibaba for the 7 days through August 20th, and it was top of the consumer electronics tree, playable on PS5 and PC. What does that tell us about the Chinese game player right now, the Chinese consumer that loves video games, Lisa?
Well, it tells us that they are discerning. It tells us that they have money to spend when they want to spend it. And it tells us that they will spend that money on things that are high quality. So I think that for other game developers worldwide looking to tackle this market, there is opportunity there. Right now, Black Myth Wukong does have one of the coveted government-issued ISBN licenses permitting it to have domestic distribution. But its primary source of distribution in China today is Steam International. And for Steam International, the ISBN is not really relevant. So this is still a way for game companies to distribute games in China.
How, therefore, is a government going to assess what seems to be a phenomenal first day?
Well, I think the government will assess this as a victory for a Chinese-based developer, and one that is, going to certainly be a leader among the export pack of games that are being exported from China to the rest of the world. This is a single-player PC offline game, meaning it's a premium game. You pay for it up front, and there are no in-game purchases. So this is something really amazing, because most of the success of games in China has been for free-to-play or with in-app purchases, this type of thing. And most of the hits have been on mobile. This is a PC-based single-player game. And just to give you some point of reference, by the Niko's China Games and Streaming Tracker, one of the tools that we use to measure the market, it's our proprietary tool. We track streams on Douyu, Huya, and Bilibili, and there were 29 million viewers by Niko's algorithmic approximation of viewers of this game out of 130 million viewers of all streamed games on those platforms. On August 20th. So that was really remarkable. Almost 25% of all gamers who are watching streams of games are watching this game.
Lisa, developed by Game Science in Hangzhou. I got so much marketing for this, particularly through the PS app. Do you think, just to extend Caroline's question, this is like going to be a national champion for China? That they'll say, what a success you've got here on our hands?
Yeah, sure. I think this is one of the big successes, not only of China, but of PC offline games kind of globally. And it happens to be from China. And it happens to be from a relatively unknown studio called Game Science. Similarly, Genshin Impact had been released by MiHoYo a couple years back, and it too blew doors past everyone's expectations and was a national, big hit that went global. And lots of people love the game Genshin Impact. So MiHoYo also came out with that game as their first big hit. And now we see Game Science doing the same thing. We've seen lots of Tencent games do this. We've seen lots of NetEase games do this. And speaking of NetEase, their big long-standing hit of 20 years is Fantasy Westward Journey. And Fantasy Westward Journey is a cultural, mythical, history-based game about, Journey to the West and Legend of the Monkey King. And that is the same theme that we see here in Black Myth Wukong. Okay. And this theme has been very popular among Chinese gamers forever. And now we see that again, it doesn't get tired, that the gamers don't get tired of it. This is something
Yes.
that they love to play.